Welcome to a 7¼ inch gauge Sweet Williams steam locomotive, part 76. More silver soldering as I replace the old water piping to the saddle tank. Thankfully, the piping is almost complete. After this episode, there's only the hand pump to connect. In the previous video, I showed some of this. It's the machining of a BSP type union cone. Even though the cone angle is still 60 degrees, they are physically bigger than the ME type. I showed in the previous episode how to set the tool angle to achieve the 60-degree angle on the union cone, and here it is. I'll remove it from the chuck and put it on one side while I clean up the pipe, ready to silver solder the parts together. I've mentioned this many times, so one more time, always make sure that the parts you're going to silver solder are perfectly clean. Here I'm using a piece of Scotch-Brite and really cleaning the end of the pipe. If you don't do this, the joint could fail. The next part of the sequence is to apply the flux. This is easy flow number 2 flux, and generally I apply it with the end of a piece of silver solder rod. An added bonus of using this method is you end up with some flux on the end of the silver solder rod as well. So when you touch the silver solder rod on the red hot area, you get a little bit of flux on the rod, which helps to clean that too. You need to make sure that the flux is in a very even coat all the way around the pipe. In this clip, I'm pressing the pipe into the union cone on the bench. And after the silver soldering operation, the piece of pipe looks like this. Notice that the union cones are different on each end. And more importantly, I have the correct nut the right way round on the pipe at the right end. To save time, so I could do it on the same day, I didn't put this in the acid bath. After the silver soldering operation, the pipe was quite oxidized. I quenched it and the thermal shock removed a lot of the scale. Then I used some Scotch-Brite to clean it, followed by a thorough polishing on the polishing spindle, and finally finishing off with some Brasso. Time to fit the pipe in position. This is the BSP end, as indicated by the arrow. This piece of pipe needs to fit into the T-piece, because this is part of the water bypass system. Here's a clearer shot of where the pipe's going to fit. In this clip, I'm tightening the 1/8 BSP nut onto the T-piece, and this will hold the pipe, complete with its new union cone, very firmly in place. The other end of the pipe, with the ME union, goes underneath the boiler and up the other side. Then it will be secured to another T-piece, which will allow me to combine the output of the hand pump and the twin axle pumps. This is a shot of the water pump bypass valve, and the thread on this was 1/8 BSP, but I've silver soldered an adapter into this, 3/8 by 32 threads per inch, an ME fitting, so once again it's a BSP to ME adapter. I'm currently showing the adapter fitted with a 32 threads per inch union nut on it. While I've been filming this, I noticed that the silver solder that I've been using, that it's slightly different to the stuff I normally use. This came out of a pack of silver solder that was sent to me by a man in the USA. If I remember rightly, on the packaging it said it was 59% silver, which I suppose does explain why it looks more of a silvery colour. I think I prefer Silver Flow 55, which is nearer to brass or gunmetal in colour, so it's quite good for repairing brass or gunmetal castings, because it doesn't show once you've cleaned it up. I silver soldered 3/8 by 32 unions onto a piece of 1/4 inch pipe, which connects the outlet of the bypass valve to the union underneath the tank. This means that when the bypass valve is fully open, the water is returned to the tank, and you can see this if you look down the hole in the centre of the tank where you fill it with water. I made that fitting in a previous episode. I'm trying to get the piping as neat as possible, and it mustn't get in the way of the valve gear. So it's essential to check this before I proceed any further. It's simple enough to test. I just move the reversing lever, which in turn rotates the die blocks. I also put some pressure on the engine to move the suspension up and down and from side to side, and I'm pleased to say that it is impossible for the die block to contact the piping. That is it for this short episode. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.